In this video we're going to take a close look at this 210mm Honyaki Gyuto from Kitchen Knives ID. Is this budget knife any good on the cutting board? What steel is it made of? What kind of wood is this beautiful handle and saya made of? And how did I get this Honyaki knife for only 83 euros? Watch the whole video to find out. Chef enthusiast. Chef Hello my fellow Chef Knives enthusiasts. What if I told you I bought a Honyaki knife for less than 100 euros? You wouldn't believe me, right?
I don't believe anything you say, my bro Sam. Never did, never will.
Well, thanks to the algorithm, I found out about Kitchen Knives ID on Instagram. Or, as we say in Indonesia, my country of birth, Pisau Dapur. Their page is full of stunning Japanese-style looking knives, like this one. How did I not know about these Indonesian craft beauties? I didn't even know they were making Japanese-style knives in Indonesia in the first place.
You've probably been living under a sharpening stone and too busy drooling over your current knife collection.
In Indonesia, arts and crafts are a vibrant testament to the nation's rich cultural tapestry. Of course, we have batik, with its complex process and symbolic patterns telling stories on fabric. Then you have wayang kulit. Wayang kulit shadow puppetry brings ancient epics to life with these finely leather-crafted dolls. Their delicate movement enchanting audiences. And look at this masterful wood carving. I had it made for me about 2 years ago in Bali, and I for one thinks it makes a nice prop for my YouTube videos. And look at this wood carving on my bass guitar. It was done by an artist from Malang on the island of Java. Indonesia is super cool. Kitchen Knives ID is based in Magetan, Indonesia. All their knives are proudly made by Indonesians. From blacksmiths to wood artisans, all craftsmen are local. As a born Indonesian, I just had to support them. So I ordered this knife from them to see if it performs as good as it looks.
Spoiler alert, it's prettier than you.
A few DMs on Instagram with these guys and I placed my order. It took about 2 or maybe 3 months to arrive, but when it did arrive, I was pleasantly surprised. The fit and finish are fantastic. The octagonal handle is crafted beautifully from Amboina wood. The name Amboina comes from Ambon Island in Indonesia. It's one of the most expensive and sought-after burrs used for fine furniture and specialty items like this handle and saya.
Yeah, fancy wood for a fancy knife. Too bad your cooking isn't as fancy.
The handle and the saya definitely look gorgeous and seem to be very skillfully made. The woodwork on this saya and handle is just impeccable. The wood grains, whirls and twirls, they're just mesmerizing. But yeah, definitely, the blade looks great too. The spine and choil could have been more rounded and smoothened, but it's very, very acceptable.
Smooth like butter. If butter had a few bumps and rough spots.
I know of quite a few knives between 100 to 200 euros that don't have a rounded spine and choil. And this knife also looks like it has a very functional profile and geometry, with a very generous flat spot at the heel and a gentle curve towards the K-tip. It has a quite straightforward flat grind. Maybe a slight convexity to it, but it's mostly flat. It has a rather thick spine with a slight taper to it. But obviously the most striking feature of this knife for me is that beautiful hamon line. The edge out of the box didn't have enough bite or toothiness to go through bell pepper skin effortlessly. It's nothing a good sharpening can't fix, but right off the box, yeah, it struggled a bit. They use leaf spring steel, heat treated to around 60-62 HRC. A leaf spring is a simple form of spring commonly used for suspension in wheeled vehicles. Because leaf springs are made of relatively high quality steel, they are a favorite material for blacksmiths in poorer countries. Leaf springs from scrapped cars are frequently used to make knives and other tools, because such steels are very tough, easy to heat treat and tolerant of heavy abuse. I have to say this knife sharpens very easily. A few passes on a 1K stone was enough to raise a burr. A bit of polishing on a 6K stone. Finishing it off on a Hidriyama Rengas Wita. And it has a functional cutting edge on the board. If you like to switch several cutting styles, this knife has the profile for it. The flat spot is great for push and pull cuts. And the gentle curve towards the K-tip is perfect for rocking. You can slice, chop, and do some more refined stuff with the K-tip.
And by refined cuts, he means trying not to cut himself.
As far as I can tell, after only using it a couple of times, it has decent edge retention. Though it sometimes feels a bit chippy on the cutting board, the heat treat seems good enough. And the patina looks really good on this steel. I love how the hamon is still very visible. Yeah, beautiful patina. I can't wait to see how it will evolve with more use.
Ah, patina. Fancy word for rust.
This knife has a little bit of heft because of the rather thick spine. But yeah, it still feels really nimble in the hands. The balance point is perfect for the pinch grip.
You and your pinch grip, like it's some secret ninja technique.
I found that the thick spine on the knife causes some stiction and wedging, especially with sweet potatoes. Orange, purple, it doesn't matter the color, they all wedge a bit.
Sweet potatoes 1, knife 0.
When a knife gets stuck in dense items like a sweet potato or large carrot, the product presses on the thick part above the edge of the blade, and that will act a little bit like super glue.
How does this knife compare to your Dao Fu knife?
Compared to Vietnamese Dao Fu knives, very similar price points. Yeah, the Pisau Dapur blows the Dao Fu out of the water with its superior fit and finish. I like the cutting feel of the Pisau Dapur better, although it feels quite chunky. The Dao Fu is thinner, but sometimes feels a little bit too chippy on the cutting boards. Overall, if I could only keep one, the Dao Fu makes me feel like I get what I pay for. The Pisau Dapur makes me feel like I get a lot more than I pay for, and then some. So, sorry Vietnam, but Indonesia wins this round. And nasi goreng is better than pad thai.
Ooh, shots fired. Vietnam, you're gonna take that?
Look, my brother and mother live on Bali and I visit them almost every year. So I know that 83 euros goes a lot further in Indonesia than back here in the Netherlands. But this is an amazing deal. The handle, the saya alone are worth that money. But then it comes with a complimentary Honyaki blade. How is this possible for 83 euros? It feels like I'm ripping them off. This feels like a scam, but I'm not the one being scammed. This probably is the best bang for my buck ever. This is a steal.
Yeah, we get it. You love a bargain. But what do you think about the knife if you forget about the price?
What do I think of this knife? Short answer, bagus. Bagus sekali.
I'll just pretend I know what that means.
Long answer? Not that bad for an 83 euro knife. This knife exceeded my expectations. It's relatively easy and fun to cut with in general. It has this very functional profile and geometry leaning more towards the workhorse side of the spectrum than a laser, for sure. It's not a top-tier performer out of the box by any stretch, but there were no difficulties for me bonding with this blade. Based on the cutting feel and ease of sharpening, it definitely punches way above its weight class. And yeah, everything about this blade, the steel, the hum line, the beautiful handle and saya, it's just all very pleasing to my eyes. Yeah, this knife kind of makes me proud that I'm a born Indonesian.
Aw, getting all sentimental now. By the way, your passport says you're Dutch.
As always, thank you for watching. Leave a comment down below if you have some questions or thoughts that you want to share.
Don't hit the like and subscribe button, nor the notification bell, and don't even think of becoming a member. It will only encourage him to continue making content for this channel. That's not what the internet needs.
I hope to see you in the next one. Bye, folks.
Chef enthusiast. Chef enthusiast.